Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to the, hey, we got a train on TV edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra and InForum.com on this 3rd of February, 2023. Steamrolling towards the weekend. The monster trucks are here. Means I can do my Monster Jam voice. Our final weekend without football before we're actually done with it in a couple weeks' time. Doesn't mean there's any lack of things happening here over the next couple days. Good morning, everybody. I am Dom Izzo. Welcome to Hot Mic on a Friday morning where it appears the Arctic air is now heading back east. Actually, Good Morning America, shameless promotion for WDAY. Watching that this morning as I do at my house, and my son is sitting next to me having his breakfast. He's deep into Bluey. He's a big Bluey fan for those out there. And he's watching it on my phone, and I'm watching GMA, and lo and behold, my hometown, Oswego, New York, gets a shout out because it's god awful there. So seems fitting we'll check in with my dad before our show wraps up today. Sure, he's going to brag about the fact he got both of the picks right to get to the Super Bowl, but also it is going to be like the cold we had is now that way. And that's how it works. Normally we get it, and then about 2 or 3 days later it hits back home. So shout out to everybody on the East Coast because it's coming, and it's not great. We got lots to get to today. We're going to check in Mobile, Alabama on the eve of the Senior Bowl. There is still football. It may not be professional, but it's a rather large game tomorrow. The Senior Bowl being played in Mobile. We'll check in on that. Get you ready for everything else happening this weekend as we've obviously turned the calendar to February. 2 weeks from now is the state wrestling tournament. So it is go time, folks. And it was go time last night in the Summit League. And we had a mixture of games last night. Some that will see your eyes pop out of your head. Other just maybe remind yourself that, okay, there's two really good teams in each side, on the men's side and the women's side. After that, there's good teams and then some teams that are just inconsistent. And we're starting to figure out who is where as we've turned the calendar to February. Last night, the Bison women played an absolute thriller against the University of South Dakota. You saw it here on WDAY Extra. It was a great game last night, the start of a huge weekend for the Bison women. We'll pick this game up late in the second half. Bison are up to Abby Schulte hits a monster three. That gives the Bison a 5-point lead with under 4 minutes to go. Thinking that might be one of the early daggers, but South Dakota would not go away. Schulte drives and scores here to get an and one. Bison build a 6-point lead. Again, you'd think South Dakota would go away. Morgan Hansen with one that almost hit the top of the shack with a three, cuts it to 3. USD's not done. 10 seconds to go. They get an offensive rebound and knock down another 3. That ties the game with 3 seconds to go. And we go to overtime. In OT, Heaven Hamlin decided to take over with a shot clock winding down. It expires. She banks in the shot to give the Bison a 5-point lead. They reviewed this. Watch again. She's got this out way before the backboard lights up. That gave NDSU some insurance there. But, of course, USD cuts it to 3, and Hamling does it again. Almost the same move here, waiting almost to the last possible second again and banks it in. She was special last night. She barely left the floor. Bison build a 5-point lead there. They traded free throws down the stretch as USD still crept into this game. It was not easy for the Bison women. I mean, Hamling's just totally on skates there. What a fantastic finish. After Elle Evans hit a couple of big free throws, the clock would expire here, and NDSU beats South Dakota 86-82, the final in overtime. That marks the first home win for the Bison over South Dakota in 6 years. The last time they had done it was January of 2017. It marks the first time that the Bison have swept South Dakota since 2000, 23 years ago. Venture a guess that I don't think any of the current players were alive at the last time it happened. You can say to me, well, okay, it's a regular season win in February. It's not for the Summit League Championship, and it's not. And it's not to get to the NCAA tournament. But as far as regular season wins go, this is pretty big. And as far as this program goes in its Division I history, it's in the top 5. It has to be. And I know that's a low bar for some on the outside to say, well, wait a minute, they haven't been all that great in Division I. And you're right. That's why last night was so big. Listen, there's some post-game reaction here from Heaven Hamling and Abby Schulte after the game.
Is this a statement win for the Bison?
Yeah, I think it is, and it gives us a lot of confidence. And we're a program now where we're up there, and we got people's heads turning, and we can compete too.
And the fact that we already went there to their place, a hard place to play in, and won, I think we were all just really excited for another challenge to get them at home. And as big as it is in history for us to get this win for a sweep, it's also huge for the standings and to stay in second place.
Can you ride momentum into Saturday?
I think we can. Obviously, we're really excited about this game, and we know what it takes to win games like these after winning 2. So I think we'll have the energy. It's just about kind of the mental preparation that we're going to get in tomorrow and on Saturday.
And so here are the up-to-date standings as we sit here on this Friday morning. South Dakota State went into Grand Forks and beat UND. That's the first time the Fighting Hawks have lost at home this season. The Jacks are running away with it here. They've got a 4-game lead on NDSU. As Schulte pointed out, it was a monster win because NDSU now holds second by itself. Oral Roberts did not play. The Golden Eagles play Kansas City tomorrow. That's the bye week for them. That game coming up there. ORU, remember, has the head-to-head right now on the Bison with the victory in Tulsa. Oral Roberts comes up here in a couple weeks' time to play North Dakota State. USD is 4th, but why this is so big is because in the tiebreakers, the Bison swept them. So essentially, they have a 3-game lead on USD because NDSU won both matchups against the Coyotes, who dropped to 7-5. And then there's some disparity because there's a 2-game lead over UND, who's in the 5 spot. Then Omaha comes in at 5-7, Denver at 5-7, and then the rest of the league with Kansas City, Western, and St. Thomas at the bottom of the league standings. There were a couple of odd scores last night, too. Denver won in Macomb. Omaha had scored 16 points at halftime and rallied and beat St. Thomas in St. Paul. Remember, St. Thomas just beat USD last Saturday, and obviously the game we had last night in Fargo. That is a win, and again, I'll go back to this. I've been here for a majority of the Division I run, and I have seen more losses than I can count on the women's side, and a lot of them bad. A lot of them to South Dakota that have not been in the zip code. So when you hear Heaven Hamling say, yeah, thinks it's a statement win, and to sweep them, that's a big deal. And I understand it's not the South Dakota team that made the Sweet 16. I made that point several times during the broadcast last night. They're still good. USD could certainly go into Sioux Falls and scare somebody and make it to the Summit League Championship game. There's no doubt in my mind to see that. And I know they're a beat-up team. They may get a couple players back by the time we get to mid-March, but they can still scare somebody. My point is there. But that's a big-time win. Now, here's the thing. They enjoy it for a little bit because you got to put it to bed immediately because, as we mentioned, that question I asked Schulte at the end, now it's South Dakota State. And if you thought the record was ugly against USD, it's even uglier against the Jackrabbits. There's a graphic we're going to bring up during the game on Saturday. It's as one-sided as you can imagine. The Bison haven't beaten the Jacks in 8 years. 2015, when they played at Shields Arena. Okay? The Shack was still being built. That was the last time the Bison beat the Jacks. And the games haven't been close. The game earlier this year wasn't close. SDSU won by 30 earlier this season. And it could happen again tomorrow. The Bison have yet to lose at home. SDSU has gone and ruined that for numerous teams so far this season. And they're a buzzsaw team here. It wouldn't surprise me one iota if they win handily tomorrow. But let's see how this plays out. I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but let's just see how it goes. SDSU is a machine, and they are healthy. Last night, you look, Selland got held. Maya Selland, who odds on probably could win the Player of the Year, was held to 9 points and 7 rebounds, right? But then you go on their bench. Callie Thiessen comes off the bench. She goes for 11 points and 12 rebounds in the win. Okay, so you hold one down, another one comes and gets you. Peyton Burkhardt had 14. Haley Timmer had 16 last night. It comes in waves for the Jacks, and that is the big thing. And the thing to me is defensively how good they are. They held Casey Borovich, likely Player of the Year as well, 38 minutes, 3 of 12 to 10 points. That's dynamite. That's how you win. And you hold UND to 57. That's how you win games. Going to be a heck of a challenge coming up tomorrow. Looking forward to that for the Bison women. Meanwhile, the Bison men playing in Vermilion last night. They had beaten South Dakota earlier this season at the Shack. Great game there. Came right down to the wire. And last night, Bison men got all of sorts as Damari Wheeler-Thomas left the game with a hip injury. USD built a 15-point lead in this game. Bison got some early points here. Lance Waddles drives and scores to Javis Miller, knocks down a hoop, but the Bison just seemed all out of sorts without a real point guard. Luke Yoder was unavailable with a foot injury. But the Bison put a rally together here. Skunberg with a drive. That cut it to a 7-point game with 1.5 minutes to go. They get some defense here. Watch the Miller pass here to Sam Hostreiter in transition. All of a sudden, it's a 5-point game. The Bison are in this with 1 minute to go. They get another defensive stop. It's a nifty look. I love that pass from Javis Miller. They get another look here after they get a stop. Skunberg gets open, and this is what you want. You want a 3-point wide-open look that clanks off the iron. That was really the last chance for NDSU. USD would make its free throws down the stretch. Coyotes beat the Bison 71-62 the final. Disappointing loss for NDSU. As I mentioned, they fall behind by 15 at one point in the game and lose Damari Wheeler-Thomas to injury and don't know his status. Working on that to see if he'd be available for the game tomorrow in Brookings. Here's the thing. You talk about defense. They hold Andrew Morgan to 1 point. They hold Grant Nelson to 13. Again, you want to win in this time of year, especially getting to March, you hold your superstars down. And South Dakota did that. Skunberg got 23 last night. If you take that every day of the week and then some, especially if you're holding Morgan to 13. Comenteros had 23 last night for South Dakota in a big win for them. So here are the updated standings now on the men's side. You want to talk about some head scratchers of what things went down last night. Oral Roberts, of course, didn't play. Golden Eagles are in the bye with Kansas City. They'll play tomorrow, so they're 11-0. The Jacks get to 8-4 by virtue of their win over UND, and they won convincingly, won by 23 last night over the Fighting Hawks. Western Illinois, which had won 5 in a row, was boat racing teams, loses by 30 on the road to Denver. So they dropped to 7-5. Not sure if we have the graphic. Western gets to 7-5. Kansas City is at 6-5. They and the Bison are tied at 6-5. Remember, they have the head-to-head as Kansas City beat NDSU and Fargo as NDSU drops to the 5th spot. Then South Dakota and St. Thomas each at 6-6. And then it's Denver, Omaha, and UND. The accordion continues here. Bison have a real possibility of getting stomped tomorrow and getting swept. Could very well happen here. It's going to be an uphill battle against a South Dakota State team. Charlie Easley came back, one of their top players, as the Jacks routed UND. And again, it's Oral Roberts and everybody else. But if it's about positioning yourself in the best spot you can be heading into March, you want to stay out of that 4 or 5 window as best you can. Because if you win in that 4 or 5 game, then you've got Oral Roberts in the semifinals. And this is assuming that they're going to – come on. You want to be in that 2-3 spot or at worst the 6th spot. Because then you've got some potential flexibility to get to Monday. Because honestly, it looks like to me anybody can beat anybody from 2 to 10. And I know UND's won 1 league game, but they could still beat somebody in Sioux Falls. So it's about positioning. And I say that knowing full well that, yeah, you could have some upsets here along the way. No doubt about it. So buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride here between now and a month from now when we get to Sioux Falls and the Summit League Tournament. Going to be a dynamite finish. But Bison men, we mentioned this, they still have at Brookings, at Tulsa, at Kansas City. Those are all 3 really, really hard games still on the docket here. With return trips, they still have Western Illinois coming. St. Thomas comes to the Shack. Those aren't easy either. And they beat the Bison already on the road. So, going to be a dynamite finish to see how things are going to wrap up. We got a packed show coming up for you here on this Friday morning. In a few minutes, Logan Campbell will be by at her usual Friday time slot. We'll get her thoughts on what she saw last night and recapping the past week and getting set for the big weekend this weekend with NDSU and SDSU coming up tomorrow at the Shack. At 10 o'clock, we're super excited to welcome back Joe Mauch to our show. Cody's dad will join us from Mobile. There's a good clan of the Mauchs that have traveled down to Alabama to get this NFL sense and see how Cody's week has gone. From all reports that we've gathered from the reputable sources, if you go in and type in Cody's name on Twitter, you're going to see every sort of opinion out there that, he had a great week, or he had a tough week, or he's way over his head, or he's dominating. There are some more reputable that would say, you know what, it's been an up and down week. We'll talk to Joe about what the experience has been like heading into the game tomorrow. And at 10:35, I mentioned my dad will join us from apparently very chilly Oswego, New York, heading into the weekend to gloat about his NFL picks. The NASCAR season starts this weekend. I know he's got to be jazzed about that. We'll talk about a few other things, too, as we wrap up the week in style. So we're off and rolling on this Friday morning. We'll take a break. We come back. Tom Hoagie on the golf course trying to defend his Pebble Beach Pro-Am Championship. We'll show you his first-round highlights just to see sunny weather in California. There's nothing wrong with that. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns on WDAY Extra at InForum.com. Don't Don't forget, our WDAY Extra Game of the Week series continues tonight. EDC Boys Hoops will feature the Horace Hawks making their Game of the Week debut as they'll take on Davies, the Eagles, flying away in the EDC Boys race. That's coming up 7 o'clock. Actually, I think it's 7:30 tonight for our game on WDAY Extra at InForum.com. It's a 7:30 start tonight for Horace and Davies. Email comes into the show. Dom, Bison men are consistently inconsistent, defines this team right now. You never know what you'll get from Morgan, Jakari White, Wheeler, Thomas. Those three starters combined for 3 points last night. They're not a great defensive team. They miss way too many free throws. Agree with that point. They have stretches where their intensity wraps up and they get in a rhythm on both ends of the floor, but they're usually just in small stretches. Growing pains of a young team is a reality. I agree on that. The free throws has been an issue all season long. I think it's cost them actually a couple of games too. And yeah, I mean, Wheeler Thomas gets hurt 2 minutes into the game. Okay. Jakari White and Andrew Morgan were invisible last night. That's tough to overcome when you need everybody, especially when you're not going super deep and you're already down on two guys basically injured with Yoder and Wheeler Thomas. Des McKinney is redshirting, and I know because that was brought up last night to me was, well, can they pull the shirt on Des? I guess they could. I don't know if that's an option because you don't really have a point guard right now. With Yoder is in a boot and Wheeler Thomas got hurt, I don't know what you do for a point guard option. Something Dave's got to figure out between now and 2 o'clock tomorrow when the Bison play in Brookings. Appreciate the emails. Keep them coming. Izzo at WDAY.com. Also yesterday, we mentioned in What to Watch is the opening round of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, where Tom Hoagie introduced as the defending champion. That had to be a cool feeling as he played at Pebble yesterday. Remember, there are 3 courses that the tournament is played on, and the cut comes tomorrow, not today. Tomorrow when the Pro-Ams get to play, the amateurs get to play today and tomorrow, and then it's just the professionals on Sunday in the final round. And it was, you want to talk about inconsistent or up and down? That's exactly how you describe Hoagie's round yesterday at Pebble Beach, which started our highlights of the 5th hole yesterday, where the par 3s he owns. That is his jam. I mean, he gets into a groove, and this one here is one of the best shots of the day. I mean, it's just getting better by the second. That's within a 1.5 feet of the hole of having a hole-in-one. You'd think he would tap that one in, and he would. That was his second birdie of the day. He would get to 2 under par. He actually makes another birdie at the 6th hole to get to -3. So first 6 holes, he is cruising along. Here at the par 3 7th, this hole last year struggled with it. He actually made a bogey here in the final round that thought may have derailed his chances of winning the tournament. Comes up not bad there and gave this one a great ride to nearly drill that one for a 4th birdie. He would par that. He would bogey at 8 to drop to 2 under. But here at the 10th, this is tasty. Nice shot there. He would knock in another birdie putt. And again, had it to 3 under par after he knocks in this. So thinking, all right, he's right positioning himself well for a really good start to defend his tournament championship. He would follow it up, though, with bogeys at 13 and 14. He'd make that birdie at 15 and then a bogey at 18 to shoot a 1 under par 71. So he is tied for 61st right now after the opening round. He has 7 shots off the lead as he will play Monterey Peninsula and Spyglass over the next 2 days. So everybody gets 1 round at each of the courses here. So theoretically, the easier course he'll play today, and he needs to go low. If he wants to contend, he's going to need something really, really good. I know he's got to be frustrated with how he shot in his opening round yesterday. So we'll see how that progresses. But opening round of 71 for the defending champion, Tom Hoagie at Pebble Beach yesterday, opening The best score of the day was turned in by Hake Laboda, shot 63. He was playing Monterey Peninsula. Chad Ramey, who was playing Pebble, had the lowest score there. He shot 65, and he's tied for second at -7. The scores at Pebble were not as low as the other courses yesterday. Scott Stalling shot 67. Kyle Westmoreland 67. That's pretty much the 68. So nobody was going super low. That's Luke Donald shot that. So nobody went super, super low at Pebble yesterday. And that is obviously the toughest of the three courses. So we'll see what Hoagie does this weekend. And we'll keep you posted on that over the next couple days. By the way, I had a couple other emails and calls on this, on the three-class basketball discussion, which we will fire up again next week in anticipation of the vote coming up on Wednesday in Valley City. Potential vote. Let me couch it with that they could decide on three-class basketball at that time. But still got some differing opinions again over the last couple days. I know we haven't hit it on the show because we've been busy with other stuff, but we'll restart that coming up again on Monday and Tuesday, leading into Wednesday's vote that's going on out in Valley City, or at least get the data points back from the surveys that were sent out from all across the state. So we'll get back into that coming up next week. We're due for a break. We'll take one now. Logan Campbell will join us. We come back, get her thoughts on what she saw in the game last night, and a bunch of other things that I've got written down on my sheet here. We'll do that when Hot Mike rolls on a Friday morning. We're back after this on WDAY Extra and InForum.com. All right, welcome back, everybody. Friday morning edition, Hot Mike, WDAY Extra, InForum.com, as we steamroll towards the weekend. You know, Monster Jam is here in town. Are you going?
I want to go. I want to ride in one of the trucks. I was telling Sam and Rachel that actually the other day. I was like, I'm going to be in one of those trucks. Just kidding. But I wish I was.
Dylan was this morning.
He was.
I don't know how he got in
it.
Yeah, he got in and started it.
I want to do like the tricks and the flips that they do.
Like, I have no idea how a man of his size could get
Fits in there.
Yeah.
No. His head's definitely like banging against
I was
the
gonna
ceiling.
say, right? You can't do anything if you bashing the top of the roof in that thing.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too fun.
You hear the voice of Logan Campbell, who joins us each and every Friday. Good morning.
Good morning.
Heck of a game last night.
Oh, so fun.
We recapped the Bison victory over South Dakota, 86-82 in overtime. Give me your synopsis of what you saw last night.
I mean, that game was so fun. That was one of my favorite games that we have done all year.
Yep.
Just the grit. You know, we talk about South Dakota being gritty teams. NDSU, hello. I think that they are a really fun team to watch. And we talked with Heaven earlier this week. She just said the energy is different.
Yep.
And you can really feel that. And just, you know, going in the huddle, there was times where I was like, oh, like their energy's low. But during overtime, it was like, let's do this. Like, let's get to business. And it was fun.
And it was easy to see when Hansen hit this one, I thought it hit the top of the shack, how high arcing it was. You're like, all right, they're going to hang around here, and they got 2 offensive rebounds in this play, and when this shot goes in, like, South Dakota's going to win this game.
Oh,
they're
my
going to go
gosh.
into overtime, and they're going to win it.
Well, so I normally stand right behind Eric. I stand right behind Eric during like the last like minute because like, you know, you got to grab the coaches, you got to grab the players and all that kind of stuff. As soon as she hit that, I was like, all right, I'm going to go sit right back down. And I was like, classic. And I sit with all the athletic directors and the trainers, and everyone was like, we knew that was going to happen. They knew that was going to happen. I was like, here we go.
That shot there, I thought Heaven waited too long, but she made the move and then did it almost again on this play here. Was just fantastic that she's on skates almost there to make that one go in.
She's an incredible player to watch. She really is. And just like seeing how she has a trickle-down effect on these players on the team, especially Elle. I think, you know, we haven't really heard Elle outrightly say it, but I think that watching Heaven and being around Heaven has helped develop her into the player that she is today.
That's interesting. I think there's probably something to that, too. There was a couple moments last night that you got a sense that Hamling wasn't going to let them lose.
No.
And those couple baskets there at overtime were evidence of that, as she played 30. I can't even remember her coming off the floor, honestly. She says she played 39 minutes, as did Evans. And I know Elle came off for about 20 seconds last night in that game. And I didn't talk about her a ton off the top, so I'll give you some leeway here. Her shooting night, 5 of 15, is not going to blow anybody away. What to me, how Evans affected the game, 8 of 8 at the line.
Yep.
The Bison still stink free throw shooting. I'll just say that right now. It's
not good.
It's got them in a couple games so far this season.
No, it has.
And they hit theirs in the second half. But Evans was good. 7 rebounds, 4 blocks. And the one she had late where she got her legs taken out from under her when she hit the floor really hard.
I was like, why did they not check her for a concussion? Because her head banged the floor. I was like, oh my gosh, ow. Her defense, and she talked to us about this. That's where she prides her game is in her defense. And she was saying, I think this was so funny. She was like, I had a growth spurt early in high school, and she's like, I didn't know what to do with my arms and legs because they were so long. But now that she's like grown into her body, she has control, and she's just uses her length. I don't even think she realizes what she's doing when she just puts her hands up and she just gets a hand on it every single time. Yep. And her blocks were difference makers in those games and free throws. Because if they made all their free throws, it would not have gone overtime.
We're not in overtime.
Yeah.
Right. That was, and the fact is actually USD struggled with the line in the second half. They had not missed in the first half, and they actually clanked a couple that who knows how that goes.
Well, did you talk about Abby Schulte too?
I did, yes.
Okay, I was going to say, she turned it on second half. Yep. Those steals were so crucial in that game.
She's the unsung hero of this team. I mean, Evans is getting all the attention as the freshman. Hamling is the stud. Brown has come in and given them something in leadership that they lacked, and Taylor was really good last night. Even Banky, who was plagued in foul trouble in the first half, her coming in just to get rebounds was a big deal in the second half of that game.
And she played aggressively, too. She had some hard blows to her face and stuff. I was like, oh, okay. Well, and good for her for staying in.
Email comes in, Dom, I love watching this Bison men's team and the women for that matter, and in most other years, this would be a really exciting finish into Sioux Falls. The Summit coaches themselves remind us often that it is a one-bid league and the regular season is for getting everyone ready for a run in Sioux Falls. But with the gap between Oral Roberts and everyone else, it's hard to see how any of the seeding matters at all as the result is a foregone conclusion. Until Oral Roberts even shows a vulnerability, it takes away any anticipation or value, quite frankly, for Sioux Falls. I get that. But all it takes is one in that. And Oral Roberts has proven that while they are unbeatable, I would say almost for the most part, in Tulsa, Sioux Falls, they have been susceptible down there. And all it takes is one in the matchups, depending on who you get. And it's going to be, on the men's side, will be bizarre on how this is going to finish out.
And I think everyone forgets about basketball in March. Anything can happen with any team in March. So
but they're really good. I won't dispute that. Oral Roberts is head and shoulders above everybody else.
They are good, but they could have an off day down there, and someone could have an incredible day. And the Summit League has been really weird on the men's side. You have some teams dominate and then they lose.
Well, Western Illinois last night had won 5 in a row, and they lost by 30 to Denver last night on the road.
So you never know, and everyone's going to be on the road, so you don't know what's going to happen.
The only thing I'll say, it's a definite advantage for the South Dakota teams, more for the Jacks than it is for USD. So SDSU in that building has been nearly unbeatable over the last couple years. That's where you look, all right, look out, depending on how this goes. And if you're NDSU now, you still have to go, you have obviously Brookings on Saturday. That's going to be tough, really hard, especially if Damari Wheeler-Thomas isn't playing because he left after 2 minutes last night. They have no point guard. Yoder's hurt too, so I don't know who's going to be the ball handler for the game tomorrow. They still have to go to Tulsa and Kansas City. You could lose all those games. Easy.
Could happen.
You could lose all of them.
Yeah, those are tough road trips, especially heading into Sioux, and then they come back here for a little bit. But heading into Sioux Falls, that's tough games to come off.
I mean, right now they are 6-5, so they have 7 league games left. With those 4 I just mentioned, let's just say they lose all of them. Right? You have St. Thomas, you have Western Illinois, Denver, and Omaha here. You got to win those.
Have to.
If that's the case, then you're 9-9. Okay. Probably take. I mean, not ideal, but considering where they were, what were they 5-1 when they started? When they 5-2 when they got.
Oh, when they started.
When they were 5-2 in league play.
Mm-hmm.
Not ideal, but you probably take that. No one would have coming up.
You
got to hold serve at home, and they've not really been great at home either.
It's just an interesting team this year.
Yeah.
A very interesting team. You never know what you're going to get when you see them play.
I will, just to finish up on the women here before I have to harass you about your favorite football team.
Oh, gosh.
That win last night was big because obviously even larger just on the court, but what it means in the conference standings now because they have the tiebreaker on USD because they swept them. So essentially they have a 2-game lead on South Dakota. Oral Roberts still comes up here, and they are such a different team. I think everybody on the women's side is compared to home and away.
Yeah.
That's the big thing that I've seen so far. Like the Bison went on the road and have struggled. They lost in Grand Forks. They got blown out in Tulsa. They eked out a win in Kansas City, but they still have to go to Denver and Omaha. And for all intents and purposes, in terms of travel, that's the hardest road trip of the year. That comes up next week.
Yeah, this next stretch is going to be really interesting and fun Summit League basketball to watch, and just seeing where everyone ends up by the end of February. It'll be interesting because, you have kind of an idea, but you really don't have an idea of where people are going to land. Like we were saying, Summit League play is really different and really up and down this year.
And tomorrow I hope there's a good crowd.
I do too.
I do. I'm disappointed there wasn't a bigger one last night. I understand it was cold but
I still was a little bit surprised about the crowd.
In terms of you thought there was
going to be more.
Yeah, there should have been.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I hope there is tomorrow. I understand there's things to do. And frankly, fans in this town have been beaten down by how bad women's basketball has been for the last 15 years, that they got to a sense, and this as a fan of teams, that they're more apathetic than anything. And you don't want to be in that. You don't want people not to care. You want them to care. Like if you're a fan base doesn't care what's going on, it's a hard time to get them back. Mm-hmm. It's a really hard time. Last night can go a long ways towards that. Now, tomorrow's a whole different deal because South Dakota State is a machine.
Yeah.
And the Jacks are winning on average. It went down a little bit. In conference play, they are winning by an average of 23 points a game.
That's pretty incredible.
But also, you're steamrolling teams.
I don't think people understand how much crowd plays a role in games and momentum.
Yep.
And we talked with Elle and Heaven and Jory, and they said that they need the crowd because the crowd can help them, give them that final push that they need in the final minutes of the game to finish it. So, when you get these loud crowds, that would probably help tomorrow. It's a tough team. They're going to need everything they can get tomorrow.
It's going to be tough. I hope it's a good environment, though. I
hope so, too.
For what should be a
after
dynamite game.
After an exciting Thursday night game, you would think more people would come. It's South Dakota State. I mean, I
everybody has. There's always stuff going on, though.
I know.
Everybody
I get that.
will say you got high school games going on. You can make every excuse in the book. It's cold outside, whatever. But
I hope
promotion goes a long way. We saw it on the men's side.
Yeah, we did.
And again, I'll harp on this, and this is my last point on it. Stop scheduling the games against one another because invariably the men's game starts at 2 tomorrow. Mm-hmm. People are going to want to watch the men's game at Frost. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But because it's a big game there.
And that was a fun game last
Having them head to head against one another is the dumbest thing.
I would have to agree.
Dumb.
I would have to agree.
So
write them a strongly worded email. Maybe they'll listen to
They
you.
know my opinion. Believe me. They know exactly where I stand on stuff. Okay. So we are in the hype of draft season.
Yes.
Senior Bowl's going on.
Yep.
We're going to talk with Cody's dad coming up here in just a little bit. It's funny you talk about hype or whatever. If you were to, type in his name in Twitter right now, you get every sort of different reaction. Like, hey, he's having a great week. Oh, he's having a terrible week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's hard to
actually
kind of sift through who actually knows what they're talking about and who doesn't. You're telling me though that I almost said the wrong word. The Commanders are all over on Cody right now?
Yeah.
Is this just a pipe dream for you, or is this legit?
No, this is legit. I was asking around because I was like, hey, we need an offensive lineman this year. What do you guys like? I know they have 3 coaches down at the Senior Bowl.
Okay, Washington has 3 coaches there.
Yeah, they have Jennifer King running backs.
Yep.
Can I talk?
Yeah.
Ryan Kerrigan, defensive end coaches, and someone else, I can't remember who. And then they have obviously a bunch of scouts down there. But I was talking with a few friends, and they're like, offensive line is the position that they're looking at really heavily right now. And I was like, Cody's down there. What do they think about Cody? And they're like, yeah, he's a name that they have heard several times throughout the week. So we'll see.
Huh.
Obviously, I don't know what's happening inside these Washington minds, but I mean, I wouldn't mind if he went to Washington. We need offensive linemen. That's what we need so bad.
I thought you need a quarterback.
We need everything. Actually, I'm just going to say it.
Go ahead.
We need to clean house. We need to get rid of everyone. And I know that's a hot take. Ron Rivera, great guy, nice guy. But coaching-wise, he's just not it.
Wow. Holy
I mean,
cow.
have you seen the past 3 years? Like every year.
I don't watch a whole lot of Washington Commanders
Okay, well,
football,
let me tell
to be
you.
honest with you.
Every
so.
year, this is the year. We're going to be amazing this year. This is the year. Get a new quarterback. Oh, yeah, we're going far into the playoffs. Deep into the playoffs? No, we don't even make it. It's every single year, and I'm just like, for once, can we actually be realistic heading into the season?
And here's the problem. The other 3 teams in the division made the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and one's going to the Super Bowl.
And Philadelphia is poised to be really good for a while.
So much. Oh, my gosh. And the one team I would not want to go is Philly.
So of all the teams in that division, you're saying the one you'd like to win the least is Philadelphia?
Probably.
Okay.
It used to be the Cowboys, but Philly fans and my friends who are Philly fans are annoying. And I'm just shut up. Please. I get it. It's cool and everyone's oh, the fan base is so passionate. There's a line between passionate and just being obnoxious and rude.
So Dane Brugler, who covers the NFL draft for The Athletic, his mock has the Commanders taking a cornerback, Cam Smith from South Carolina, with the 16th pick.
Okay.
That doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything for you, huh?
I mean, we need everything. If you watch a single game this season, we need everything pretty much. Defensive end, we're maybe okay.
Okay, so who is their quarterback for 2023? Honestly,
I don't know.
Now,
I would say
is Carson Wentz a possibility, or is that's donezo?
I think that's pretty much done.
Okay.
Taylor Heineke's questionable. I could see them potentially bringing him back for a backup spot.
What about your
again.
guy Sam Howell?
That's just what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Full send on Sam Howell. Develop him. Bring in. They're bringing in a new offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Bring someone in. Develop him and have him lead the team. Jalen Hurts did it.
He ain't Jalen Hurts.
I know, but still, it could happen. Brock Purdy just kind of did it. Just focus on one guy. Focus on young talent. Bring in someone young. I am begging for anyone in Washington who happens to see this. Bring in someone young.
I would tend to agree. I think the Carson experiment is over. That didn't work.
I'll take Lamar Jackson. I'll take that as a veteran.
Is he available? I didn't know he's.
Not officially.
I don't think that's gonna. I didn't know he's out there.
Not officially, but
how about Aaron Rodgers? Would you take him?
No.
hard no there.
Eric's mad at me.
Hard no.
No, I don't know. I just say take someone young, develop him. Sure, I don't expect us to make a deep run next year, but start developing the guys you got and then build around them.
Let me actually see, because I think we now know where teams have finished, so you should know at least who you're playing next year, I think, because the Commanders finished last. So actually the schedule, you'll play the other last place teams.
I know, we'll have an easy
so
schedule.
That's actually...
Go us. We did something right this year, I guess. If you're going to stink, at least finish last. Because it's funny, because 2 years ago, we literally finished with the same record and won the division.
Correct.
Which is just wild to me.
How'd that work out?
And I got to watch Tom Brady play in person, so that was pretty cool.
So next year at home, outside of the division games, Arizona.
Okay.
They're not very good.
No.
49ers. That's going to be tough.
Yep.
Buffalo. That ain't easy. Miami. Nope. And Chicago. That's the game.
Maybe.
That's the games in DC. At the Rams.
Mm-mm.
No. At the Patriots.
Maybe.
At the Jets.
Yes.
No. Ain't winning that
yes.
one.
You want to make a road trip?
Maybe.
Let's go.
Who's the Jets quarterback? That's the question.
Zach Wilson.
No. At Seattle. Nope. Ain't winning that game.
You don't think?
At Atlanta.
Yes.
At Denver. Broncos are going to be better next year with Sean Payton. They're going to win more games. I don't know if Russell Wilson's going to be better, but they're going to be better.
I was going to say, what about Russell Wilson?
So that's the Commanders' schedule next year, outside of the division
Okay,
games.
that's still kind of tough.
Yes. It is.
Oh, boy.
Because, by the way, the Jets were last in their division, and yet they won 7 games. I mean, they were right there to a playoff team, much like Washington was.
I know.
You know?
It's just, oh, my gosh. Something needs to happen. And I don't know what it is, but something needs to happen. A big change needs to happen in order for Washington to finally be good. People are over it. No one goes to the games anymore.
So, well, the stadium stinks to begin with. That doesn't help.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what they need to do? They need to sell the team. That's what it all comes down to. And I will die on that hill.
Yeah.
They need to sell the team.
Well, I've heard that for
years.
10 years now, and it still hasn't
I'm hearing
happened
it's
yet, so.
probably close.
Here we go. Probably close
to happening.
Yeah.
But we've been hearing that for a year now.
You know what? It's almost Nationals baseball season, so you can get excited about that, right?
Can I get excited about that? That's the real question.
Honestly, before you came in, I'm like, can I name 5 Washington Nationals
no,
right now?
I can't even. I'm sitting here.
I love baseball. I'm like, I don't know if I know.
When Juan Soto got
Washington
traded
Nationals.
last year, I was like, that's it. I don't even care about them
You know
anymore.
what? I'm going to look quick on the roster because I want to see.
I can't even name. And they were so fun in 2000. Was it 2019?
They won the World Series, so yeah. Oh, I know Pat Corbin. He's from my neck of the woods. Is he still on the team?
Yeah, is he still there?
Eric still doesn't realize he has a microphone. He can still talk to. What? Oh.
Probably because he was using it too much.
Barely on it. They cut it. Let's see. I know Pat Corbin. I don't know. Okay, Strasburg's there.
What about
boy.
Who's the Star Wars guy? Oh gosh, Doolittle. I think did he retire?
Don't know him. I don't see him on the active. I don't know any of their infielders. Oh my God, this is terrible.
That's what I'm saying. I just
who's
don't.
playing outfield for this team?
I don't know.
If they
You're
win
asking the
60
wrong
games,
person.
that'd be impressive. If they win more than 60 games, that'd be impressive, especially in that division.
I just, first of all, I'm not a baseball mind to begin with, but when it comes to the Nats now, I'm just like,
Can you shift and be an Orioles fan, or is that against?
So it's
you
funny.
Can't do that?
No, I used to grow up going to Orioles games. So when
Okay.
the Red Sox would come to play at Camden Yards, my dad would take us every single time. So that's where I actually grew up going to games.
Yeah. Well,
and
it's
then
an
we
awesome
started
place
going
to see games. I love
Yes.
Camden Yards.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Yep.
And then the Nationals came and we started going there. I actually covered them a little bit during that World Series run,
Mm-hmm.
which was awesome. And the guys were so nice and so fun. Trey Turner was like the best. And then they all are gone. So now I'm like, okay, well.
This is a full-on rebuild here that's
Yeah.
going on there, and they're going to be bad next season.
Thank you for reminding
I'm
me.
sorry. I just wanted to, give you something there, but I don't think
You
that's
gave
gonna
me
work
nothing.
out. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks
we'll
for
see you
having me.
tomorrow. Logan Campbell joining us each and every Friday. We're way overdue for a break. We'll take a couple here and get back on time as we roll on a Friday morning. Hot Mike back after this on WDAY Extra at InForum.com. Our thanks to Logan Campbell for coming by. Just reading a real interesting story here from the Star Tribune, which we'll get into next week about the 18 guys the Vikings have to make decisions on for next season. We'll come back. We'll start Hour 2. Joe Mauch will join us, Cody's dad, from Mobile, Alabama, and the Senior Bowl. Hour 2 of Hot Mike on a Friday morning continues after this.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mike, ready to rock and roll here in our second hour. WDAY Extra, InForum.com. Final hour of the week, which we always have a lot of fun on a Friday, and certainly the case today, as I know there's no NFL game on Sunday, but there's a rather large game tomorrow for those that care in Mobile, Alabama. The Senior Bowl will kick off tomorrow, 1:30 on the NFL Network, and for the third consecutive year, North Dakota State is represented in the game, and by a North Dakotan no less. Hankinson's Cody Mauch will be playing in the game tomorrow. The question is, where will we see him on the field tomorrow? Our next guest may have an answer for us. Our pleasure to welcome back to our show Cody's dad, Joe, joins us from Mobile in Alabama on this Friday morning. I have to imagine it's about a 60-degree temperature. What's the temperature down there this morning? What do you got for us?
It's pretty dang nice, especially when it's 0 or 10 below or whatever it is back home, I guess.
Yeah, I saw it's going to be 60 and sunny for the game tomorrow, so try not to get too much of a suntan, all right?
Yeah. Burnt, yep.
Tell me about the anticipation for you and the family to get down there and now to be there and then to see Cody's face and everything plastered all over TV this week.
Yeah, it's been a wild. Just been wild. We were actually supposed to get here Tuesday about noon, but being they had weather there in Dallas, we had to get we got delayed, canceled. So we ended up getting here Wednesday night. They always say the practices down here are more physical and everything than the game. The game's kind of just fun, but practices, everybody's kind of all out, I guess. And it's been nice to see that. I mean, it's just been, he's been playing, I don't know, all over the place. He's been playing all 5 positions in the middle, and it's just, I kind of think, everybody's kind of thinking guard right now. but I think the versatility is going to help him out too. That, I mean, he may play guard for a while and then move back to tackle, or, who knows, I guess.
When he told you, hey, Dad, they want me to snap the ball, what went through your mind when he told you that?
Yeah, that was pretty neat, just because, never seen it, never did that at all at NDSU there. And just, and he didn't do a lot, but he did, I don't know, 5 to 10 snaps, and seeing them in different spots, I guess.
How about the half jersey deal with the gut hanging out? What do you make?
And the first thing he said was, we do Tuesdays, and the tight ends all don't have no shirts on or whatever there. So, yeah, that was pretty funny.
When I mentioned this earlier, when it's hard not to, scroll through Twitter or something and see, while Cody's having a great day or he's struggling or it's been up and down. It's hard I haven't even imagined for you to sift through, okay, what is accurate and what's total baloney? How hard is that to I guess, kind of keep out of your head as you're just watching down there and trying to follow what's going on?
It's neat. We're watching it all, but, it comes down to what somebody says isn't always, I mean, there's always two sides of the story. So you can listen to everybody that says he's doing a good job and everybody that says he's doing a bad job. It doesn't really matter what most people say. It's the right scout at the right time looking for this move, or, it's more than just playing good, or it's something people don't think of as footwork or arm placement, or, this and that they see that, the average person doesn't really know.
The thing, Joe, I think, and I'm completely biased since I know him, I've known him forever, is that when teams will sit down with him, that's where I think he can blow them away.
That's right. Yeah, he just has a way with, I don't know, interview process. He can just talk to anybody. I mean, he can just, I think he gets that from his grandma or grandpa there, because I'm not that way. But, he can just talk to anybody, and I don't know. I don't know. He's just got that going, I guess.
When you saw him line up at a couple other spots, though, were you anxious, nervous, excited? All three. What were the emotions watching him?
Yeah. It's just different. I know he started on Tuesday was the practice when he started playing a little more center, and that was the one we missed. And that was kind of what I really wanted to see. He said, before Monday night, or no, it was Wednesday's practice, second practice. Tuesday night, he was saying that he was going to move in and do some of that, and that's just something that's in essence totally different than guard tackle, I guess. So it was neat. It was neat just seeing that.
Have you had a chance to actually visit with him, or is that maybe something you get a time to do today?
Yeah. Can have some time with him. I mean, it was only a couple of minutes as he was walking off the field, because they had he's done a national team and they practiced first and then they got off, and then the other ones, they didn't want too many people on the field and stuff.
When just for people on the outside, what has his schedule been like? I mean, it's been I talked with him last week. It's beyond when practice is done. Actually, that might be when the real hard stuff starts.
For the most part, on a day here, he said he's been getting about 5:36, and they do go through team meetings till about 11 or so, and then that's when they have to practice, 11 to 1:30, and then it's meetings after that, and then most nights it's been interview process from like 6 to 11. So kind of been a lot of longer days, and he kind of said not much sleep, but it's been so much fun. It's just the way it is.
Has he gotten any odd questions? Has he told you that, like kind of the off the wall ones, if he likes cats or dogs or that?
No. Somebody came up to him with a camera and that, and they wanted him to interview like 3 or 4 different people. So he a bunch of guys there. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah, I could see him having a good time with that. How much of the family has come down? Who's come down to the game for tomorrow?
Me and Stace, and then two of the kids, and then Grandpa and Grandma, and his girlfriend, friends. So there's 10 of us here.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Tell me about just seeing him wear the helmet one more time. That tomorrow will definitely be the last time wearing the Bison helmet with the colors. What do you think the emotions, even for you guys, will be like that for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I mean, I hope he gets to keep that helmet and just just to remember. I mean, just to keep your head clean and stay with a decent mind and don't change and all that. I think that's kind of what that helmet represents.
You and I chatted, obviously, the day of the game, and I know you guys saw him that night. Tell us about that. After that, it was pretty much his professional career started. What was that like after the championship game and where things have gone since?
It was pretty emotional, I would say. I know, which was too bad. So when we were kind of waiting in the parking lot there, waiting for him, on that Sunday night, I guess, and a little group there, I guess, again, and he kind of broke down a little bit. Was pretty emotional, and mainly just not going back with the guys. I mean, it's he was with them guys and coaches for six years, and now it's like some of them, a lot of guys, hardly going to see anymore. So it's been tough for him, but I always laugh. His little brother Damon had. I think he's 11, and I think he had everybody on the Bison team on his phone. So now all of a sudden he don't get to talk to him either.
Just the abruptness of it, Joe. It's just that's the part that's always striking to me. Kyle Emanuel, he and I have talked about it, that they played. He played his last game, and then literally either that next day he was on an airplane. Cody went through the same thing to go to California to start training.
Yep, that's what it is. I mean, like I say, leaving the locker room was the hardest thing for him, just because you're done.
Yeah. I
mean, you're done not seeing a lot of people anymore, and it's so there that I don't know. It's got, you can't. You're in it,
His life is only going to get more hectic here after this wraps up. Tell us what's on the docket here after Mobile and after the game is done on Saturday.
Yep, it sounds like he's going to fly back to California, is where he's been training, and then the combine he got invited to. So that's, I want to say, the first week of March, right in that time frame, and then he's going to go back to California again, and until Fargo's Pro Day, which I want to say is the last week of March or so. And then from most of April, it sounds like he's going to be around home or training there in Fargo a little bit, or just have a little time before the draft there.
What has this been like at home for you and the family? You and I chatted in November when you had the big day for him, but now that this is becoming a thing and it's real and we're not that far away, what's it been like back home?
It's just, it's just unbelievable. I mean, we'd be in this position, or it just don't happen to a small town kid. I mean, I shouldn't say it doesn't, because it has been, the last couple of years, but it's just so unbelievable. And the neatest thing is, you think of Cordell was really the same thing, and Cody and Cordell are best friends down there. So they're talking probably twice a week all the time. So, I mean, at least he's got a place to go. And even Dylan too, that lineman, that room that he knows. I mean, it's so much helpful having them guys there for him to lean on or ask questions about this and that. And it's been, that really helps.
Well, Cordell told me last week before playing in the AFC Championship game, he said, "Hey, I'm going to be at Cody's draft party. He was at mine. I'm going to make sure." What does that mean to you to hear that?
That's pretty neat. That's really neat. It's, he just has so many followers. I mean, he just has so many people behind him. I mean, that deal they had in Hankinson with the school, the whole.
I was visiting yesterday, Joe, with Steve Kleinger, is the head coach at New Salem, and he's got a kid. AJ Hines is going to go play for the Bison, and he's saying, you know what? He wants to model himself after what Cordell and Cody have done. 9-man kids that have starred at NDSU. Describe that of just seeing the Cody set the path here about a 9-man to do this.
Well, it's hard at it. Things happen. I mean, again, you kind of know he came in as a walk-on and small guy. And I mean, it just happened. They kind of told him, let's just see what happens. And, kind of got him as a athlete, and then let's see what happens. And it kind of took off for him.
I'm assuming you saw the clip on Twitter when he was asked about how he gained the 85 pounds.
Yeah. That was. It's pretty neat. He remembers that, or that's how he answers the question, I guess.
He's a big Stromboli guy, apparently. Is that a fact? Can you confirm that?
Yeah, I guess so. Yep.
Was there one meal he had to have back home?
I don't know. Not really. I mean, and the thing is with Cody, when he came home the last couple of years, stay before he goes up and gets the last. He always asks if everybody got some because he was going to take it all. So, yeah.
What do you think for you guys? Emotions tomorrow, watching in the stands. What do you think that's going to be like tomorrow? Knowing the game is not a typical game.
Yeah, it'll be neat. I don't know on this stage or like a game like this if there's many fans there or it's not more crews and TV and scouts, and even the scouts I think a lot of times go to practices and then they take off back and because the practice and the games are just fun, I think. So I don't know. I don't think it'll be as tough as the game in Frisco, knowing that that's the last time he's going to be a Bison. I mean, this is too different here, I guess.
Before I let you go, I know you got some sightseeing to do. Just how much can you sit back for yourself and Stacy and just enjoy this? Are you trying to living in the moment, or is it's so much right now? Can you step back and enjoy it?
It's a lot, but it's neat. I mean, we'll be laying in bed and just kind of look at each other and just say, man, how but it's a lot. But it's you wouldn't change it for a world. So
have you guys gotten called? Like if the scouts or agents or anything, like if they called you like to ask stuff?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, he kind of did the agent process more in the summer, and we kind of said we'll meet with anybody, but it's got to be a relationship with him. So we kind of him. He would ask, but it's sometimes you kind of bite your thumb and bite your tongue and say, let's let him make the decision. So it's been always kind of looking at financial advisors to try to get on a good one there. So kind of the same process again, but it's kind of. It's been pretty wild.
It is real world stuff, is it not? I mean, that is. I mean, that is some big time stuff. Just to kind of just wrap your mind around.
Yeah. And that, like the agent process. I mean, it was pretty neat. The first couple agents that talked to him, but then by the end, I mean, he had 70, 80 agents talk to him. So how do you pick one?
Yeah.
I mean, and at some point, I think it just towards the end of the summer, it got a little stressful for him just because, school started or the practices and all that started. And that's what it was. But I know it was just tough because everybody seems good. Everybody. I mean, it's a relationship, and you don't know.
No doubt. I really appreciate the time, man. I know you're crazy busy down there. Have a ball, enjoy it, and we'll chat again in a little bit. Okay.
Sounds perfect. Thanks, Dom.
Good to see you, Joe Mauch, Cody's dad, joining us from Mobile this morning in anticipation of the Senior Bowl tomorrow, where Cody has had, I'll read here. This is another recap. Matt Bowen, who writes for ESPN.com, another, draft expert, however you want to define it. North Dakota State's Cody Mauch has the inside versatility to align at center or guard. He plays with second-level mobility. I need to have second-level mobility. I don't know how to achieve that, but that's that's another term I've not heard before. Second-level mobility, and has the strength to handle power at the point of attack. It has been a really good week for Mauch in Mobile. So there you have it. There again, don't listen to me. There's 8 million different Twitter draft experts. That's the biggest farce out there on who claims they're an expert or whatever. That's black and white, ESPN.com on that. And there'll be more of this when we get to Monday, I'd imagine, and a full recap of everything. But at least you can take that for what it's worth there. Just another part of this article I'm reading on day 2 standout prospects. Keanu Benton, who Cody went up against from Wisconsin. Michael Wilson, a wide receiver from Stanford. John Michael Schmitz, the center from Minnesota, who has impressed down there and could go before Mauch does in the NFL draft. Either way, just to tie in here before we take a break, just for the community of Hankinson and being down there for the celebration they had for him. This is only going to get crazier between now and the end of April. I mean, we're still, 7 weeks away from the draft, and it's only going to go like this over that time period. And it's going to be fun to watch and to see. It certainly seems like he's improved his stock here. The combine is the next checklist on that. And by the time we get a month from now, when the combine's happening in Indianapolis, I think we're going to have a good sense of where things are going to. You remember we did the show last year after Christian Watson went through it, and boy, things just took off after what the combine performance was last year. We could have a similar situation again happening this time around. We're overdue for a break. We'll take one here. We'll get caught up on a couple things as we roll on. My dad coming up at 10:35. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns right after this. Well, I was all set to do something here, and then we've got breaking uniform news, and this is an important one to break in with because it's one of the all-time greats. The Kansas City Royals just tweeted out this, for those watching on TV, with the headline, "Full Powder." Powder is back. The Powder Blues are coming back for the Kansas City Royals full time. They have done this sporadically over the last couple years with the Sunday games, but it appears that this is a full-time move, which I could not be more encouraging of that. That is a tremendous look. If you go back to the early 80s with George Brett was playing and the Royals were super good, those are the jerseys they're wearing. Those are sharp. That's a dynamite look there for Kansas City to go and do that. It's funny. The more teams that want to, and I saw this tweeted out by one sports media reporter last night, and he's dead on about this, that the more times the teams go and mess with their jerseys and change them, it's never for the better. It really isn't. And I'm just talking professionally here, okay? How often have a team gone and changed their look only to circle back and say, you know what, the original one we're going to go back to because everybody liked that? And all the time. All the time. It's very rare that you could have an upgrade in the uniform department. This is actually one thing I am an expert on. But honestly, think about it, especially in football. How often has that happened? We're going to upgrade, and then nah, you know what? Look at the Rams. The Rams is a great example of that. When the Rams were originally in California with their great look, then they moved to St. Louis and had that Vegas gold, whatever it was, the navy look. That was hideous. And what did they go back to? Their original colors. That's where they're at. Give me, let's see another one that has reversed here over the last couple of years. The Eagles is a great example. Philadelphia is one where their fan base clamors for their old green jerseys, which I think they're going to wear next season with the old green, with the helmets, because that's part of the rule change for the NFL in 2023. Those are tremendous. The ones they wear now are okay, but that's the look. The Bills is a great example. Buffalo went through this. The Giants, same thing. They updated it. You know what? Nah. When the Giants wore this year their throwbacks, I say throwbacks because it's only 30 years ago, with Giants spelled out on the side, those are fantastic. That's the ones that work. These with Kansas City are great. The Twins, when they brought out the powder blues, those are fabulous. It's not that hard, folks. I know everybody wants, the Twins did it this year. They tweaked their uniforms. We did a whole segment on it. That was pretty much the only offseason news we had with them prior to the re-signing of Correa. It's okay to do that. These are great examples right here. Why are these so popular? Because they look good. The Patriots brought Patriot Pat back this year. The creamsicle is coming back in 2023 for the Bucks. You know why? Because they look good. People like them. It's not that hard. I know you want to sell more jerseys and you want to get more apparel out there, but it's okay to embrace what worked. The NBA, everybody has like 19 jerseys in basketball now, right? I mean, the Timberwolves have at least 6. I can't keep them straight. What's the matter with the original ones they had? The blue and the white ones. They're great. To quote Tony the Tiger, they're really good. I don't know why there's necessary. I know why. You want to make as much money as possible, but you could just stick to the original. That's a great segue for our next guest because his favorite team has never changed their jerseys ever. His 2 favorites have had the same jerseys forever, the Yankees and the Steelers. And, of course, I'm talking about my old man, my dad. He's coming up when we take a break. We'll gloat about his Super Bowl picks. I'm sure he's got a good Tom Brady story to share. And we'll do some other stuff as well when we come back here on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra and InForum.com.
If that was me and you, if you'd have went with a Boston, you'd have been living in the garage. I had a Yankee hat on, of course, which I usually almost always do, but she says to me, if I were you, I'd take that hat off. And I looked at what look at it to begin with. I ain't taking my hat off. I know where I am. Yeah, right.
You believe anything that guy says? Because I don't.
He said he was going to marry J-Lo, too, remember? Nah. I finally told your mom. I said, there's no sense. Let's just put TVs in the room because I'm only going to wake them up anyway. So
that's how I got a television? All right. Time to wrap up the week in style as we do each and every Friday in this time slot. We welcome on my dear old dad from lovely Oswego, New York, which got some national TV today because the weather sucks. How bad is it back home?
Well, it's cold. Fargo. Unreal, man. The wind is really whipping around. It's 1 degree, I think.
Woo! All right. You better stay
That's
inside.
the coldest it's been all year right now. We're supposed to be 40 by Sunday, so go figure.
Of course. That's how it works.
It's just bouncing all over the place, you know.
It's not the wind we don't typically get like that. I mean, that was the biggest difference I remember when we moved out here. That was the wind. And honestly, the cold is we don't get that cold back home. Not like that.
No. Now you get in days after day after day. We just usually get a couple here and there.
I'm still waiting for my check from you for the heating bill for my house this month because it's a little up there.
It's in the mail.
It's in the mail. I'll wait for it.
Remember years ago when you used to tell me I'm cold, turn the heat up. Nope. Now, do you turn it up now? No. Don't forget that.
We don't need to air some dirty laundry on the air here. We don't need to go and do that.
I just told you someday you're going to sit there and say, "Well, geez, that old guy was right." You know, there you go. Keep turning it up.
There's a saying I have: the older I get, the more right you get. And I don't like that.
Well, I try to tell you, I just knew it from experience. My father was the same way. He used to know stuff I was doing long before I ever knew he thought he would know, but I don't know. That's the way it is.
So we can give you the clear runway here to brag about your picks that you got them both right last week.
No, I got them both wrong.
What? I thought you picked them both right.
No. Those Diners. I'd have let off the show with that. If that was true. You know that.
Oh, well, the first game wasn't even a game. When you lose your both quarterbacks.
That's too bad. Yeah,
you know?
they really sure, but what are you going to do? I can't believe they would go they had 7 weeks to make a move, 8 weeks to make a move. If they knew if this kid got hurt, it was all over. I can't believe they would do something like that.
That's a good point. Because they knew Garoppolo wasn't going to play. Yeah, and Trey was out.
Especially the way you were snake bit all year with quarterbacks. Right. Or not all year, the last 2 years. So 2 or 3 years.
Well, here's the interesting part now, and this team is so odd that Purdy, from what I read, I mean, he has Tommy John surgery. That's a year. That might take him out of all of next season. Obviously, Trey has his own injury. Now, they say he should be fully cleared in a month, but
they're going to be right back in the same boat again, trying to figure out who's going to be the quarterback again.
That'll be his chance to shine for sure.
Yeah.
But and of course, then they got the old statue sitting there in backup. So.
Well, Shanahan said yesterday he doesn't see any scenario of Garoppolo playing next season with them. So
he said that. Yeah, remember?
I don't know if it was that authoritatively, but yes, I'm thinking.
If he's smart, the way they'd have 5 quarterbacks just because of the way they're snake bit when it comes to that, you know.
All right, so I'm going to give you 5 guys. You got to tell me where they're going to play next year. All right. Let's start. Derek Carr. Where is he playing next year?
Oh man, the Jets.
Okay. Garoppolo.
The Jets.
I think I know where this is going.
He might end up being in Vegas. Garoppolo.
Could be.
And that that would be the perfect city for that kid. It really would.
What do you mean by that?
Because he would shine there. He's like a movie star. You know what I mean?
He looks like a movie star. Yes.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Vegas would love that guy.
Aaron Rodgers.
The only thing is they'd have to keep him off the strip.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Where's Rodgers playing next year?
Where's he play now?
Green Bay.
Yeah, there you go. He ain't going nowhere. This thing is just a joke. He loves keeping his name in the
He definitely
limelight.
does. He definitely does.
That's how he picks up all these girlfriends. You know?
Last one. Tom Brady. Where's he playing next year?
Fox.
All right. Okay. It's over.
You see the on the phone?
Yeah.
I knew it wouldn't take long. The lip readers would have that one right out there. Boy, they did too.
So we had our official poll on the show the other day when he announced his retirement. We put the favorite Brady memory was the game-winning drive against the Rams, the first Super Bowl he won, the comeback against Atlanta, the greatest playoff comeback when they beat Atlanta in the Super Bowl, losing to the Giants when they were unbeaten, and I put the tossing of the Super Bowl trophy on the boat when a couple years ago when they won. That won our poll. Do you have a different one from?
No, that one made my day, but the Giants one was my favorite. The incompleto game.
Tell everybody that one because you were out of the country for that game.
Right. It was in Cancun. They had this movie theater set up, man. It was beautiful. Big screen. We get in there and it was all in Spanish. None of us knew what the hell they were saying. The only thing we could understand was incompleto. It was crazy.
There's another.
Downtown to a bar. They had it in English downtown, and that was awesome.
There's another reminder that nobody ever needs the announcers. All you need to do is just watch the game, right? So you can watch the game on
It didn't
mute.
matter. It was all in Spanish, but I didn't know what they were saying. I'm sure there were some people there that did. But.
Not that he needed any more accolades, but if they would have won that game, obviously they would have been 19-0 and the greatest team ever. That would have cemented that. Not that he would have needed any more, another accolade for him,
There's not much else he could have done but that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he really wanted that. If you think about it, he got more games than Miami did, but he just didn't finish it off. But
right.
And I mean, get together every year after everybody loses, they sit there and smoke cigars and drink wine. That's cool.
Well, here's the thing. Eli's got the ultimate bragging rights on him. Not Peyton. Eli got him because he got him both times in the Super Bowl. That's the thing I still shake my head about.
Think about it, man. He two biggest games. That's what's awesome.
That was pretty good. I honestly, I think you mentioned this when we did this last year. When he got to Tampa, you actually got to see his personality. And that's what I asked, we're talking with Drew about on Wednesday. Is he going to be good on TV? Is he going to say anything interesting? I don't know.
Well,
I'm
I can't imagine him not being because he has such a knowledge for the game, right. But he may be qualified, you know what I mean? He'll end up being boring. Who knows? But
the story, I don't know if you saw.
He's gonna end up in movies. He's friends with all these movie stars, and look, he's got a movie out now.
He's got a movie out now. He does.
Yeah,
he's got a movie out now. So
that's inevitable. I mean, look at the money they paid him.
$37 million.
Not even know if he's gonna.
I know.
Who knows, man?
That's why I'm really interested because we talked about this, and there's a story out in the New York Post this week that CBS actually sent its top media talent to Dallas to have an intervention with Tony Romo, like to figure out what's going on. Like Romo I don't think he was very good. He was making up words and he was talking during the game.
Well, that's what happens to these big-headed guys. All of a sudden, whoa, he's got more power than he needs. He's losing it now. People, they were amazed at first. Now they're
Well,
there's times again, Jesus, just shut up. If you're going to talk over Nance, just shut up.
Eric, save that clip. We got to get just Dad saying, "Just shut up." That's pretty good. I think we can use that one for. Yes. Well, no, they took the microphone away from him today, so it was there you go.
Hey, we got a mic.
Back, so there you go. He got it back now. So.
Oh, that's good. He should have it back.
So. We got NASCAR actually starting this weekend. I saw a little bit of it back in the Coliseum. So they're going to do this again, starting on Sunday.
Back at the bull ring, yeah.
What do we think?
I'll watch it. I'll probably bet on it, but I don't know what I'm going to do there. I'm just waiting for Daytona.
I was going to say, so next Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, you're heading down to Florida.
Hey, thanks for reminding me about that.
Well, I'm sure you're going to have a TV on the. What are you flying? What's your airline?
No, they don't even have Wi-Fi. Oh my! But the way we'll be landing before the end of the game, though, so we might wait right in the airport at the end of the game.
What time are you taking off?
6 o'clock.
Okay, so 6 o'clock Eastern. The game is 6:30 Eastern time. What time?
I think it's a 3-hour flight. I'm not sure. 2.5, 3 hours. So. Pretty, but I mean, I haven't missed a Super Bowl since I was hired at the mill in '78.
Holy cow!
I think that's the last one,
man.
And that's the time I went out and bought the VCR, the Beta VCR for $900. $900, man.
$900 it cost to get that thing? Oh my God!
Yeah, 1978.
That's fantastic. Oh,
I wish I still got the camera.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't have the machine that plays it out of it.
No,
though.
I wish I still had the machine.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, you're gonna get there at finally the tail end of the game, I'd imagine. As long as
we might be able to see the end, but I don't know if Philly's faced a team this good all year.
Yeah, but Philadelphia's humming
right
now.
Yeah, but you go back and look at their schedule as a cakewalk. Come on, I don't know. We'll see.
Their defense is legit. I think they are. That's going to be awfully hard even if Mahomes is a little bit better. I still don't think Philadelphia's the favorite to me.
Buffalo really choked. They should have done what Philly did to them.
Yeah,
and they didn't go nowhere near Burrow. It was just I couldn't believe they did that.
No, that's and yet Cincinnati still had a chance. Cincinnati had 2 chances at the end of that game to win it on Sunday. So. They have.
Yeah, they did.
It's
not like they got pounded.
No.
They were right there. They're just mistakes. I mean, it would have been overtime if it wasn't for that one penalty at the end. And then the penalty did have.
Right, we're just dumb. Right. Yeah, we're just.
You let them play all year, and then you do that in the biggest game of the year.
Well, you still
get to the Super Bowl,
but you still can't push a guy out of bounds.
No, that one was legit.
Yeah.
But the duel.
I agree.
Come on, you just add the 10 seconds to the play afterwards.
Yep, I agree.
Even though they did show the ref trying to stop the play, so
yeah, but nobody heard it. That's the thing,
Well, that's what and why would the noise be that loud? Because they were on offense,
right?
So you wouldn't have all that noise. Something
that was bizarre.
Telling you right now, by allowing gambling,
yeah, absolutely,
they're going to have to do replays with.
Absolutely,
they're going to have to do replays with this because people are.
They're
going to end up suing the referee.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yep,
a lot of money.
It's funny you say that, and we got to roll here. But there's I've read a couple stories on that now with the amount of money that is being thrown around, and I'm not talking like individual people putting huge sums of money. I mean, you're right.
Well,
it's going to get crazy out there.
It's always been that way.
Well, now it's legal. That was the deal. That's the thing.
Now being legal, now you opened up a whole new can of worms. Now,
Yeah,
I mean, as far as the money that's going out, it's always been that way. People might want to say, "Oh no, yeah,
Right.
it is. It's always been that way."
But the NFL is in bed with it though. That's the thing. You know what I mean? They're signing off on it now. That's where you got to make sure that your refereeing is as pristine as it can be. You can't have anything like that now. Especially with that thought of, well, wait a minute, are these guys in the tank for it because somebody bet on it? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's invariably
FanDuel, the official gambling site of the NFL.
Exactly
You
right.
know, come on. I can't believe they even allow that to be said. Well, I know.
Money. Hello.
You better be ready.
Yep, I know it.
I'm suing you because I lost $50. I'm coming after you.
I don't think you're going to get very far out of $50 lawsuit there.
Hey, it's worth a shot, right? What I got to lose?
You want to make a pick tomorrow? Bison, South Dakota State men's game down in Brook. I don't even have a line for it, so I'd probably imagine -8. I would take a guess.
You know, they did have them. They did have them on the gambling site the other night. I was very surprised.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
I'd take NDSU +8 because I still think SDSU probably win by more than 8 tomorrow. That's probably not going to go very well.
Well, it should be a good game, though. You think or no?
Bison are beat up. I don't know. SDSU, they'll probably win that game pretty handily, I'd say.
Depends on what team shows up.
Yep.
Every once in a while, they really look good. But the girls look really good.
That was a good game last night, no doubt.
It was a good game. Yep.
All right, you stay warm, and we'll talk to you next week for your big trip. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Right.
I'll be ready.
There he goes. I love you.
I love you, man.
I love
Have
you
a
too,
good
man.
one.
All right, there he goes. My pops joining us each and every Friday with commentary that you can't get anywhere else, folks. There you go. We'll take our final break. We'll put a wrap on the show and say so long for the week. We'll do that when Hot Mike wraps right after this on WDAY Extra and InForum.com. All right, we are in the home stretch here, wrapping up the week. Thanks to all of our guests. We had some really good shows this week. Reminder, tomorrow we'll be back with you for NDSU, SDSU, 1 o'clock on WDAY Extra for that matchup between the Bison and the Jackrabbits, 1 and 2 in the Summit League, set to go at it. That's coming up tomorrow. Reminder, tonight we've got high school boys basketball for you here on WDAY Extra. Davies and Horace playing here on Extra. Our coverage begins at 7:30 tonight on WDAY Extra between the Eagles and the Hawks. Matchup of those two teams in the EDC and boys hoops. That's coming up tonight on WDAY Extra. Eric, what do you want to show me here? What do you got? You can talk in the mic too, barely, so you got your microphone back. What do you want to show me here on?
I don't know. I guess Kyle wanted to show you this.
Timberwolves are the only top six seed team. It's hard to say. Top 6 seed team with no All-Star. Well, that's a graphic there of Anthony Edwards snubbed from the NBA All-Star game. Yeah, well, I guess he played too many games apparently because he never missed one. No load management for him. The Wolves, as you see, started the night in 6th spot in the Western Conference, and that leads us into what to watch because they got a fairly big game tonight as they continue their homestand. The Orlando Magic are in town, 7 o'clock tonight on Bally Sports North between the Wolves and the Magic as they continue their homestand with the Nuggets lying in wait coming up before they head out on the road. That's tonight on Bally Sports North. Second round of the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, 2 o'clock on the Golf Channel. This afternoon, again, for the weather that is outside, why not sit back and watch some golf? Nothing wrong with that. That's coming up later today. Tom Hoagie not playing at Pebble. He'll be one of the other 2 courses today. He's got some work to do to try to get himself back into contention at the event, as we showed you off the top of the show. Opening round 71. He's at -1 heading into today. And Premier League weekend opens up Chelsea and Fulham today on USA. 155 for the Premier League for those that love it as much as I do. As much as I love watching live sports in the middle of the afternoon, there's nothing wrong with that, with a big-time soccer match there from the Premier League. That's coming up this afternoon, 155 on USA for that one. Bison men are in action tomorrow. Their game with South Dakota State is a 2 o'clock start
That game on Midco. The UND men are in South Dakota, take on the Coyotes in Vermilion, and the USD women go to Grand Forks tomorrow to take on UND. That's a rather large game now with what happened last night with the Jacks winning and with the Bison winning, created a little bit of separation there in the Summit League standings. So by the time we come back Monday, I don't know if we're going to have any more clarity on where things are at, but it should be really interesting. And as I mentioned, when we come back on Monday, it's going to be Super Bowl week. We'll get you ready there and find out if Class B basketball or North Dakota basketball is heading to 3 classes next week. We may have a decision there. We got to roll. Thanks to our guest today, to Logan Campbell, Joe Mauch, of course, my dad. If you missed any part of the show, you can podcast it later today at InForum.com. Everybody have a great weekend. Stay warm out there. Enjoy the monster trucks. We'll see you back on Monday on WDAY Extra at InForum.com.